Assalamu alaikum. Today we are starting with the topic transformation of functions. In O levels we had done 4 transformations. The first one was reflection, then we did rotation, the third one was translation, and the fourth one was enlargement. Those were with respect of any figure. When you have to reflect a figure or reflect a point, okay, that was in 2D. Now what we are doing in A levels is the transformation of the functions. That means the transformation of the graph of functions. The first one which we are going to do is translation, then it's reflection, stretches, and then the combination of all of those. Okay, starting with the concepts. Okay, if you look at the question, f of x is x cube. Okay, we know that the graph of x cube, if it's a because the coefficient of x cube is positive here, it's positive 1. So the graph of x cube is going to be the cubic curve passing through the origin. Okay, so I'm drawing the curve here, assuming this is the curve of x cube. The curve of x cube passes through the origin. Okay, if this is the curve of x cube, write down f of x plus 2. Whenever the function is increased by 2, that means the whole graph is going to shift 2 unit upwards. And now for the first part, in the first part the graph is going to be 2 units upward. That means you have to go, the graph will shift 2 units upward. That means the y-intercept is going to be 2 now. In the second part of the question here, f of x minus 3, that means you will have to shift the graph 3 units down. Okay. In the second part, the graph is going to go 3 units down. That means the y-intercept of the graph is now going to be negative 3. Okay. And then in the next part, it's f of x plus 6. That means the whole graph, which the original graph is this passing through the origin, it has to go 6 unit upwards. So the third one is going to be 6 units upwards, 3, 4, 5, 6. It is going to pass through this point. Okay. So this is the graph of f of x plus 6. I hope you understand. This is vertically, what we are doing is translation. That means we are vertically shifting the graph 2 units up, negative 3 units down, and 6 units up. In other words, I can also say that if the graph of f of x plus 2 is actually the translation of 0 units onto the x axis, but 2 units upward. Likewise, in the second part, f of x minus 3 is going to be, this whole graph is going to go 3 unit downwards. Horizontally there is no movement. That means horizontally it's going to it's not going to shift, but vertically it's going to shift 3 units downward. The third one is f of x plus 6. That means f of x plus 6, that means the whole graph is going to go 6 unit upward. If it's a positive, that means going upward. If it's a negative, that means it's going down. Moving on to the second question. F of x minus 6. Achha, f of x is the same cubic equation. Now in this example, if I take the example of, if assumingly f of x equals to x square, we know that the graph, quadratic graph, if it's a positive, the general form of a quadratic equation is ax square plus bx plus c. If it is a positive number here, that means the whole graph is going to be a u-shaped graph, and since there are no terms here, it's just x square, it is going to pass through the origin. In this graph, it says you have to draw the graph. In the first part, you have to draw the graph of f of x minus 2. Now this is horizontal movement. Okay, if there is a minus 2 outside the bracket, that means the whole graph is going to vertically shift downwards. We have done the example here. If this was the original graph, it will go 2 units downwards and the graph will be this. In this case, there is a horizontal movement. If it's inside the bracket, it is going to move 2 units onto the right now. Okay, so that means this is the graph, this is the point 1, this is 1, this is 2 on the x axis, this is negative 1, negative 2. Okay, likewise I am just drawing it till here. Okay, the whole graph is going to move 2 units onto the right. That means it's going to be somewhat like this now. This is the graph, this is the required graph. This actually means a translation of, vertically it's not moving, so vertically it's 0, but horizontally it's moving 2 units onto the right. Okay, if it's a negative sign, the graph is going to move on to the right, and if it's a positive sign here, that means the graph is going to move on to the left. Okay, fine. Starting with the next one, this was the first one. Let's do the second one. It says f of x plus 3. That means now the graph is going to go 3 units onto the right. So it's here right now, it's going to shift 3 units onto the left. So this is going to be the graph of f of x minus 3. Okay, in this case I'm just shifting it here down. Okay, in the second part it says f of x plus 3. That means the whole graph is going to go 3 units onto the right horizontally, and vertically there is no movement. Okay, the last part, f of x minus f of x minus 6. In this case the graph is going to go 6 units onto the right and no vertical movement. Okay, that means the whole graph which is here, the original graph, it is going to go shift onto the right by 6 units. This is going to be the graph of f of x minus 6. This is the graph. Okay, in case of horizontal translation, you have to remember one thing, and that is, if it is a negative sign, the graph is going to go on to the right, and if it is a positive sign in the bracket, that means the graph is going to go on to the left. This is a translation by 2 0, this is a translation by negative 3 0, and this is a translation by 6 0. Okay. Now, if it is a question, if you can just observe this, if y equals to f of x minus a plus b, the graph is translated horizontally by a units and vertically by b units. Okay. So if I take the example of if I write in the fourth part for the same graph, if I write f of x minus x plus 1 minus 3. Okay. So it's going to be, the graph will shift horizontally by 1 unit onto the left, that means negative 1, and it's going to go down by 3 units. Okay. So that means the graph is going to be, I'm going to draw the red graph here. So this is going to be shifting by negative 1 unit here and 3 units down. This is going to be the vertex of the graph then. Okay. So this shows in horizontal movement, 1 unit onto the left and 3 units down. Okay, starting with the exercise, consider the graph of y equals to f of x alongside. On separate axes, draw the graph of y equals to f of x plus 2. You have to shift the whole graph up by 2 units. That means there's going to be a translation of 2 units up. So 2 units up, that means okay, this is already done here, so I'm not doing it again, I'm just showing it to you. 2 units up meaning this was the original graph, it has gone up by 2 units. F of x plus 4, that means going to shift 4 units, this was the original graph, this will shift by 4 units, every single point to be shifted 4 units onto the left. Okay. Okay, let's start with the exercise. It says find the equation of each of the following transformations. I'm doing question number 1. Okay, question number 1. You have to shift this graph. This is the graph, the equation of the graph, and you have to translate it by 0, 4. That means no horizontal movement, but it will vertically move up by 4 units. So the equation of the graph is going to be y equals to 2x square plus 4. In the second one, I'm writing it here only, 2x square plus 4. Now in the second one, it has to go down by 2 units. That means the whole equation negative, subtract 2 from the equation. Y equals to f of root 2 minus 2. Now here also this is a vertical movement by 1 unit. So the whole graph is going to go up by 1 unit. Okay, the next one, downward movement of 2 units. So it's going to be x square minus 1 minus 2. Sorry, positive 2 meaning upward movement. The final graph is going to be x square plus 1. Okay. This is the horizontal movement now, because vertical movement, there is no vertical movement, but horizontal movement of translation by 5 units. That means it's going to go 5 units onto the left. So the equation will be 2 upon, in place of x you just have to write x plus f of, just hold on. Okay, it's going to be x plus 5. Yeah. In place of x you have to write x plus 5. That means it has to go 5 units onto the left. Okay, in this case it will be 3 0. That means it's going to go 3 units onto the right. So whenever it's shifting 3 units onto the right, in place of x you will write x minus 3 upon x minus 3 plus 1, which will be x minus 3 upon x minus 2. Okay, in place of x you have to, because the graph has to shift 1 unit onto the left. Okay, 1 unit onto the left, that means in place of x you have to put x plus 1. So it will be x plus 1 the whole square plus x plus 1. So when you simplify you get x square plus 2x plus 1 plus x plus 1. So x square plus 3x plus 2. Okay, the last one, now there is a horizontal movement plus a vertical movement. Horizontal movement of 2 units onto the right. So it will, in place of x I am going to write minus 2 the whole square minus 2 I am copying because there is a negative 2 here, and then the whole vertically it has to move up by 3 units. So I am going to write a positive 3 here. So the final answer is going to be x square minus 3 times x square minus 4x plus 4 plus 1. 3x square minus 12x plus 12 plus 1. So 3x square minus 12x plus 13. This is the final answer. Okay, so I've written all the final answers of all the graphs here. If it's just a vertical movement in the graph, you just have to simply, if it's just vertical movement in the graph, you just have to add the vertical component to it. But if it's horizontal movement, okay, if it's a horizontal movement, if it's a negative 5, so you have to write x plus 5 in place of x. If it's a positive 3, then obviously you have to write x minus 3 in place of x, likewise. Moving on to question number 2. Find the translation that transforms the graph to this graph. Okay, that means the original graph was this, and now it has gone up to positive 2. So I'm doing the first one here, y equals to x square plus 5x negative 2. Now obviously they must have added a plus 4 here, so that it became positive 2 here. That means the translation is going to be the whole graph has gone 4 units up. So 0 4. Okay, in the B part it says y equals to x cube plus 2x square plus 1. If you notice, in place of positive 1 they have written a negative 4. So positive 1 plus what is negative 4? Positive 1 minus 5 is a negative 4. Okay, so I am just writing it here, y equals to x cube plus 2x square plus 1 negative 5, so that it became negative 4. That means the whole graph has gone 5 units down. Okay, the C part, y equals to x square minus 3x. Now if you notice, in place of every x they have put a positive plus 1. Plus 1, that means the graph is going to shift onto the left by a negative 1. Okay, horizontally it has moved and it has gone onto the left by a -1. So the translation is going to be, in this case it will be -1 0. In the D part, once again if you notice, there is a horizontal translation because in place of every x they have plugged in an x minus 2. That means the whole graph x minus 2, that means it has gone onto the right by 2 units. That means the translation is going to be a 2 0. Okay, the E part, it is square root of 2x plus 5 and now it is 2x plus 3. So y equals to square root of 2x plus 5. Okay, so in place of x they must have plugged in something, so I am just trying out. 2 into x plus 5 plus something is going to give us 2x plus 3. Okay, let's see what have they plugged in here. 5 plus a equals to 3, so a equals to -2. Okay. Okay. From here we do understand that it's not vertical movement, because if it's a vertical movement then the constant should be added after the square root sign here, outside the square root. But since it's inside only, that means there is horizontal movement and they have added something or subtracted something from a here. So if I just compare the two sides, I will get 2x plus 2a plus 5 here, and here I've got 2x plus 3 if I get rid of the square root from both the sides. Okay, the constant is here 2a plus 5 equals to 3, because if there is no point comparing the coefficients of x. Now if I solve this, I will get 2a equals to 3 minus 5 is a -2 and a equals to -1. That means a was a -1 here. So if I just check again, -1 here plus 5 equals to 2x plus 3. If I solve this, I get 2x minus 2 plus 3 plus 5, which is equivalent to 2x plus 3. So that means they have horizontally shifted the graph and horizontally shifted the graph 1 unit onto the right. Okay, that means the translation is going to be a 1 0. As I told you before also, if there is a negative sign here, that means negative sign meaning the graph has moved on to the right, moved on to the right by 1 unit. That means. Okay, then after this we are moving on to the last part of the question. If you observe this, in place of every x they have plugged in x minus 2. You can even check here. 3 into x minus 2 is going to give us, okay, I am just copying this down and then doing it. It shows that there is some horizontal as well as vertical movement here in this part. Okay, 5 upon x minus 2 the whole square minus 3x, and then they are putting a positive 10 here. Okay, so that means if there is the horizontal movement is -2, that means there should be a negative x minus 2 here. Okay, let's just solve this. It will become x minus 2 the whole square minus 3x plus 6, and instead of putting a 6 they are putting a positive 4. That means a vertical movement of 4. So horizontally it has shifted onto the right by 2 units and it has gone up by 4 units, so that when you simplify this you get a positive 2. So this is going to be the translation: horizontal by 2 units onto the right and 4 units up. Okay, moving on to question number 3. The diagram shows the graph of y equals to f of x. Sketch the graph of each of the following functions. So I am just doing this one now. Okay, you have to if you notice f of x, they haven't put anything inside the bracket. That means there is just vertical movement of 4 units down. That means you just have to shift the graph 4 units down here. Horizontally it will remain the same, but vertically it has to go down by 4 units. Okay, this is the first one. This is with purple. Okay, the next one which we are doing is with dark green. Okay, f of x minus 2, that means there is horizontal movement of 2 units onto the right. There is a negative sign here, that means it has moved onto the right. Okay, 2 units onto the right, meaning the whole graph will go 2 units onto the right, meaning this point is going to come here, here. Okay. So this is the graph. The final graph is going to be this one. I can highlight it because it's almost the same color. Okay, the next one, there's horizontal plus. I can, if someone asks me for the translation, I would say that it is translated by 0, negative 4. Okay, this is translated by 2 units onto the right and 0 units. Now this one is horizontal plus vertical movement. So positive 1 meaning 1 unit onto the left and 5 units down. Okay, so I'm just drawing the final graph with a brown color. The original graph is going to go 1 unit onto the right and 5 units down. Okay. This is the final graph. Okay. Moving on to question number 4 then. On the same diagram, sketch the graph of y equals to 2x and y equals to 2x plus 2. Okay, let me do this. Okay, I'm just going to take a graph paper and then do it on that. Okay, so I'm starting with this question. On the same diagram, sketch the graph of y equals to 2x. Okay, y equals to 2x is going to be the graph. If I just take any 3 values of x, assumingly 0, 1 and 2, so the y values are going to be 2 and 4 here. So 0 comma 0 is the first point, then the next point is 1 comma 2, which is this, and then it's 2 comma 4, which is this. Join them and make the straight line out of this. This is the original graph of y equals to 2x. Then they are asking us y equals to 2x plus 2 on the same graph. So the whole graph is going to go 2 units up. Okay, so it's going to be, even if you draw the table and draw it, if I take the 3 values as 0, 1 and 2, y is going to be for y equals to 2x plus 2. This was for y equals to 2x. Okay, so 2 into 0 plus 2, 2 into 1 plus 2, and 2 into 2, 4 plus 2 is 6. Okay, 0 with a 2, I am just drawing it with a purple color, 0 with a 2, 1 with a 4, and 2 with a 6. If you notice, the whole graph has actually gone 2 units up. Not only with the graph, you know that the whole graph has actually shifted 2 units up. Also from the equation you can easily make out that the graph is positive 2, that means vertical movement of positive 2. Y equals to 2x can be transformed to y equals to 2x plus 2 by a translation of 0 a, find the value of a. The value of A is going to be 2 because you are shifting it 2 units up. So A is going to be 2. Y equals to 2x can be transformed to y equals to 2x plus 2 by a translation of B0. Find the value of B. Now, if you notice here, the whole graph of this can be shifted to this graph by a translation of 1 units onto the left. That means if the value of A is going to be a negative 1. Okay. Okay. The value of B is going to be, it has shifted to the whole graph has shifted to the right by 1 unit. Okay. So it's going to be a negative 1 and 0. So the value of B is going to be a negative 1. B is going to be negative 1. Okay. Fine. Also, if you ask for the equation, obviously the equation of this is going to be 2x plus 2 only, and for the equation of this one, since the graph is, we are assuming that the graph is shifted 1 unit onto the left, in place of x we are going to put positive 1 here, so it's going to be 2x plus 2. Okay, and it is a translation by negative 1 0. Okay, moving on to question number 5 now. Question number 5. A cubic graph has the equation y equals to x plus 3, x minus 2 and x minus 5. Write in similar form the equation of the graph after a translation of 2 0. That means the horizontal movement of 2 units onto the right. Okay, 2 units onto the right, that means in place of x you have to put x minus 2 plus 3, x minus 2 minus 2 and x minus 2 minus 5. So the equation of the graph is now going to be x plus 1, x minus 4 and x minus 7. Okay, since we know that it has moved onto the right by 2 units, whenever there is a horizontal translation onto the right, there will be a negative sign. So in place of every x I have put x minus 2, and then I have solved the equation. Question number 6 and 7. The graph of y equals to x square minus 4x plus 1 is translated by the vector 1 to find in the form the equation of the resulting graph. You know that there is a movement of horizontal movement of 1 unit onto the right. Onto the right, that means in place of x I am going to put x minus 1, and vertical movement of plus 2, that means after you solve that you have to add a 2 in the end. So in question number 6, in place of every x I am going to, this was the original equation, in place of every x I am going to write x minus 1, and then in the end, because of the vertical movement, I have to add a 2 here. So the final answer is going to be x square minus 2x plus 1 minus 4x plus 4 plus 1 plus 2. Okay, so the final equation is going to be x square minus 6x plus 8. Adding all the constants 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, then I am doing the next question, question number 7. It says y equals to the graph of y equals to ax square plus 2x plus c is translated by the vector 2, negative 5. The resultant graph is this. Find the value of a and the value of b and the value of c. So you have to find out the original graph, and the resulting equation is with me. Okay, so the original graph is 2x square minus 11x plus 10. We know there is a movement of 2 units onto the right, so in place of every x I am going to put onto the right, meaning x minus 2 plus C, and this is a vertical movement of -5, so I have to subtract 5 from here. Now I am going to compare this side with this side and get to the answer. Okay, if I just solve this, it will become x square minus 4x plus 4 plus bx plus 2b plus c minus 5 equals to 2x square minus 11. I don't need to write this in every step. Let's simplify this. Ax square minus 4ax plus 4a plus bx plus 2b plus c minus 5. Okay, if I compare both the sides, comparing x square, I will get ax square equals to 2x square. That means the value of a is 2. If I compare the terms with x on this side with the term with x on this side, comparing x, okay, on this side I have 4ax and bx, and on that side I have minus 11x. Okay, get rid of x's from both the sides. Okay, getting rid of x's from both the sides is giving me a minus 4a plus b equals to a negative 11. So I already have the value of a with me, which is 2. So b equals to negative 11 plus 8, b equals to negative 3. Okay, now I have to compare the constants. On this side, the constants which I have, if you notice here, is 4a plus 2b plus c minus 5. So I am writing them down, comparing constants. Okay, 4a plus 2b plus c minus 5 equals to the constant on this side is a 10. Okay, I already have the value of a and b, so 4 into 2 plus 2 into the value of b plus c minus 5 equals to 10. 8 minus 6 plus c minus 5 equals to 10. Okay, so c equals to 10 plus 6 plus 5 minus 8. C equals to 10 plus 11, which is 21, minus 8, which is a 13. Value of c is 13. This is how you get the value of a, b and c. Okay. That is it for today. We'll have another video on translation, after which we'll move on to reflection and stretches. Thanks a lot for watching the video.